Hello everyone, myself Dr. Rajashree Jawale, Assistant Professor, DG College of Commerce, Satara. Today we are going to discuss about contract of agency. So contract of agency comes under special contract. So now we'll discuss about the special contract of agency. In a modern business organization, it is not always possible for a man to do everything by himself. Hence, it is necessary to delegate some of his acts to be performed by another, and that person is called an agent. And the contract by which he is appointed is called contract of agency. The law of agency is based upon the principle that what a person does by another, he does by himself. So, in this unit, you will learn the meaning of agency, creation of agency, authority, rights and duties of an agent, delegation of authority by an agent. Then you will also learn about liabilities of an agent and principle to third parties and the methods of terminating agency, that means termination of agency. So now we'll see it is a contract which creates the relationship of agent with the principal is known as agency. So here in contract of agency there are three parties. According to section 182 of the Contract Act 1872, an agent is a person employed to do or to represent another in dealing with third person. The person for whom such act is done or who is so represented is called the principal. So here you can see that agent is representing principal and the person whom such act is done or who so represented is called the principal. So agent and principal, there is close relation. So whatever the act agent is doing, that is on behalf of principal, and this is the duty towards the others. So here whatever the agent will act, so he will represent on behalf of principal to third parties. But here is one fundamental duty, that agent need to act in accordance with the directions given by the principal only. Then only principal will be liable for the third party. Now we'll talk about rules of agency. So here if we are talking about rules of agency, we need to understand whatever a person can do personally, he can do through an agent. So this rule has some exception like marriage, singing, painting, etc. He who does an act through another does it by himself. So this is very important thing. So in this case of agency or contract of agency, principal appoints the agent. So if the agent is doing any act, so agent is acting on behalf of principal. So it is done by principal only. Now we'll talk about essential features of agency. So in this case, principal should be competent to contract. That means minors will not be competent to enter into this contract of agency. Then second, agreement may be either express or implied. Then intention of the agent, that should be clear that he will agree or he should be agree to act as an agent. Then always no consideration is necessary here, but in general contract consideration has to be there. But in case of agency, no need to have consideration. That may depend upon to contract and person and fact to fact and circumstances to circumstances. And here free consent is very important part. So these are the essential features of agency. Now we'll talk about creation of an agency. So here in creation of an agency, the relationship of agency is created either by express agreement or by implication. If the person has a capacity to bind the principal and make him answerable to third party, he is an agent. An agent creates a contract between the third party and principal. So now we'll see modes of creation of agency. 1. Agency by agreement. So here if we are talking about agreement, agreement may be of a two kind, express agreement and implied agreement. So here what is this express agreement? So express agreement means when the principal gives authority to the agent by words spoken or written, it is an express authority. What is implied agreement? Sometimes the authority of an agent may be implied. That means it is through his conduct or situation or relationship of the parties. So now we'll see about the agency by estoppel, agency by holding out. So here we will see first agency by necessity. When a person is compelled to act as an agent of another without the formal authority, such an agency is created by necessity. For example, a landlord proceeds on a world tour and in his absence, the electricity bill of the house is paid by the tenant. In spite of any instructions from the landlord, here the tenant acts as an agent of the landlord by necessity. For example, a person buying a cinema ticket for his friend works in the capacity of an agent. So here agency by necessity, it called as agency by necessity. Now we'll see about agency by estoppel or holding out. When an agent has without authority does acts to third person on behalf of his principal, the principal is bound by such acts or obligation, provided he has by his words or conduct induced such third person to believe that such acts were within the scope of agent's authority. So here in this case, if we talk about holding out means falsely making another to believe something which is not true. When a principal by his words or conduct induce a third party to believe that a particular person is his agent, he is stopped or precluded or prevented from denying the fact afterwards. For example, B entrust C with negotiable instruments endorse in blank. C sells them to D in violation of private orders from B. The sale is valid only. So here if we talk about agency by estoppel or agency by holding out, it depends upon the particular person and their act. Yes, so principle of estoppel, if the party are agree and they are doing, and once they have completed, afterward they are prohibited to deny. So it is by estoppel or holding out. Now we'll see about agency by ratification. So here ratification is giving approval or adopting transaction subsequently which has already been performed. It is an acceptance of the past act of an agent done without principal's authority. When the act is done by one person on behalf of another without his knowledge or authority, he may choose either to ratify So here, if he ratifies the act, such agency is by ratification. So ratification may be express or implied. So here, if we are talking about ratification, the person becomes an agent with back effect. It establishes relationship of agent and principal. Ratification has the same effect as if the act was done with prior authority. Once the act is ratified or approved, the same effect will follow. The principal must be competent to ratify and it should be done with or within a reasonable time. So here agency by ratification. Ratification is nothing but giving approval. So now we will see the another part, and that is agency by operation of law. So in this case, it is created by operation of law. By law only it is created. That means, suppose if I am talking about company. So in the formation of a company, previously the particular promoters are treated as an agent because they act for the company. A partner is an agent for the purpose of business or the firm. Therefore, an act of a partner for the purpose of carrying on business of the firm is usual way binds the firm. So in all these cases, agency is implied by the operation of law. In a company, the directors also act in the capacity of its agent. The decisions and the act are binding on the company and shareholder. So these are the very important point in case of modes of creation of an agency. So here ratification is what? An approval. Now we'll see duties and rights of an agent. So here these are the duties of an agent towards the third party on behalf of principal. So here what are the duties of agent? So agent duty is to follow directions given by principal. So he should not apply his own mind. Whatever the directions or the orders are given by principal, that needs to be followed by an agent. And then next duty is to act with skill and diligence. So whatever the skills and the talent which agent has, so he can apply that and act on behalf of principal towards the third party. Third duty is to render accounts. Whatever the accounts and the finance which are there, so he should be very honest while dealing with the accounts and the finance or the money. So he should give all the details of accounts to principal. Next duty is to communicate in case of difficulty. For example, suppose if the agent is acting on behalf of principal, and here suppose if any problem or difficulty arises, so in that case all these difficulty or the problems needs to be communicated to the principal. Next duty is to pay the amounts received for the principal. So here he is very fundamental duty, or he has a very essential duty to pay the amounts received for the principal. जी काही प्रिन्सिपलला अमाऊंट मिळालेली आहे, दॅट नीड्स टू बी collect by the agent, and then again he need to pay back to principal only. The next is duty not to delegate his authority. So here suppose if I am talking about agent should not again redelegate his function or work to the other person, or he should not appoint an agent which is treated as sub-agent. So that is prohibited. So he should not delegate his authority. The next duty is to termination of agency by principal's death or insanity. Suppose principal die, in that case contract of agency may be terminated or end. Next duty is not to disclose confidential information. So whatever the contract is there between the principal and the third party, and suppose here agent is acting on behalf of principal, so he gets the confidential information. So here is the duty of an agent not to disclose the confidential information. And finally, duty not to deal on his own account. So whatever the money or the finance he need to do, or the transaction he needs to be done on behalf of principal, so he should be act on behalf of principal only. So he should not deal on his own account. So he should be very honest and very confident, very what we will say, he should be um, very fair in his fiduciary relationship. So there should be relationship, proper relation between agent and principal. So here now we'll stop, and in next lecture we will see termination of agency. Thank you.